Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, for what I have to assume is the final episode. Unless this ends up being like 3 hours long. We'll see. I'm gonna try, even if it's a little bit longer. We're gonna try to get through this, assuming that this is the end. It's the last day in court, so I imagine that this has to be the end. But we'll see.
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take to the stand?
Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done in these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. I think you're making things worse.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. He's not going to help. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Of course. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Oh, that is a lie.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana...
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she is telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself.
Defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay, here we go. Let's do it. How many years? There we go. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective, let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years.
Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Gavin Gant was a respectable detective, that's why...
Hold it!
Oh, I got all my points back. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And... Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana.
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago.
Did you, though? You say you did this all by yourself. Yes.
Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene?
It seems as the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor's award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Miss Wright, but I'll never change this statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark?
Something like that.
That's so. What happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away from the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes. Broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim,
Then you move the body?
But why? Why would you do that?
You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Do I ask? Why did you plant the knife? I feel like why did you plant the knife is obvious. Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was by Chief Gant's desk, so that means everything happened... Hold up. That means everything happened the way we said it did, so...
But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body.
The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Pieces of the jar, you mean... Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. That makes no sense.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. What if... Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle.
I see.
What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there is more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it, period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists that she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself, broke off the tip. Pieces of the jar shattered during the events threatened my plan. Wait! My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists you fabricated the evidence by yourself. Gotta get Lana to talk more. She's lying and she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. I wonder, alright, hold on. Where is... Was it this one? Move the body. You saw this, but why? Why would you do that? Is that a good head on your shoulders? Why did you plant the knife? Okay, maybe I need to ask that. But why did you do that? Come on, come down, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out.
Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. Okay, there we go. Press! According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to getting convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound?
Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. Oh, that wasn't it. Nothing to do with Emma. My sister's lying. Uh-oh. Welcome to finale part 1 of 20 as I try to figure this out. Gotta get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then there's bound to be she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Years. No truth to this blackmail theory. Broke off the tip of Dark's knife and planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. Knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. Okay, that makes sense. Once I get Dark convicted, it had nothing to do with Emma. I feel like there's a lie in there somewhere. Wait, there's a line at... She's lying and she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Hold on. I think that removed a piece of testimony. Why did you move the body? Chief Gant's desk, but the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Piece of the jar that shattered during the... Oh, okay. So I only get one statement or the other, and I have to figure out how it's a lie. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. How? Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister, but it couldn't have already been broken at that point.
You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right.
Do you have a problem with that?
That's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. Oh, she figured it out. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Ah. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar.
Order, order!
Your Honor, it would... Oh, my God.
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical?
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony.
Oh, that wasn't it? Jar and message and... Oh, okay, good. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I made I'm sure I got them all. Ah, there we go. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay, let's... Hold it. The jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. Ouch.
Not as feeble as the judge's judgment.
You are an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces?
Normally I would have. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No, if I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? Seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I had just barely enough time to move the body as it was.
If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry.
I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened.
What do you mean?
If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Do I press this or do I just present? I'm gonna present. Yeah! Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Yes!
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that?
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that.
There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs, and I can't read that fast.
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
Ah!
Why is he freaking out?
No. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
I love the judge.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence.
But why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the chief's puppet.
No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up their most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies. Imagine that coming from my own client. If she fired me, do I still get paid? Is in this world that they've concocted, who pays me?
I guess you do seem like the type who likes to twist the truth.
Ouch! I have feelings, you know. Wait a minute. What if We're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap.
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lana, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, right?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Sky, if you will. I can't.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there's a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Here we go.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Wait. Actual crime scene. Here we go. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. Oh, I'm an idiot. Marshall didn't write her name on there. Oh my god, how did I not see that coming? I thought this like 2 episodes ago and I didn't say anything and I should have. I have a hard time believing that in an accident like that Marshall would have tried to like rat out Emma. Like, he seemed like a genuinely good guy from what I can tell. So I don't think that he would attempt to ruin a kid's life by implicating her in a murder like that. Oh, I'm so dumb. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor sword.
You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. But, to me, it's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed, but I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture.
I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Oh! Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Yes, I know where it is. Where is it? Wait. Excuse me. No, that's it, right? I didn't mean to back out. Oh. Ha! Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detectives saw the crime scene like this. Oh, because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Lana's picture inserted into the court record. Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? Oh, this is a handprint and it was her handprint. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. No. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Alright, actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on a suit. What? Excuse you? What? Alright. Come now, Edgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gant!
What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. No!
Ha!
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
Yes!
Oh, Edgeworth. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier.
Just sit back and relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck.
Oh, Edgeworth, you are so amazing.
Gak!
So what, you think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't, but someone does.
Someone?
So what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves you knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Oh, now I know it's a lie! Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
Is this true, Mr. Wright?
Do we have to? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
I do now. I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Did I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? No. No. I'm gonna go no. Oh, God. We're gonna lie. We're gonna lie, and it's probably gonna catch up with us later. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie.
Chief Gant?
You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. Ha! Oh, we're gonna get him. Okay, we're gonna get him to confess. The conclusive evidence. I have nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes! Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? Shh, Emma, shut up. We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area?
It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
What? That means you, the Chief of Police, have been concealing evidence. Ha! This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department.
You messed up, dummy! Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Skye.
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean the items in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course. Insurance so that she could never... so Lana could never rat her out. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you're calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Alana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. And then if you fabricated all the evidence, who wants to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ho ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. No! You can't have it! What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too... Oh, no, did I mess up? Uh-oh. I think I did bad. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Oh no, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Okay, let's think this through. I don't know. I'm thinking of it as a game, and I'm like, all right, we dodged a bullet once. I don't know how we avoided at this point. Like, everyone's brought it up. All right, show evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
I don't think this actually shows who murdered him, though. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requested it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to have left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Crap!
Oh ho ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that. But Mr. Wright, do you really think that... what?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer.
Not necessarily.
Whose fingerprints are they?
Ah, crap. Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is...
Emma Skye?
What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Ho 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 ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. Well, hold on.
So it's true, tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
How could you, you monster?
Miss Skye?
You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha, but I'm afraid it is over, Boyd. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. Can I present my badge? It's shiny. What's the matter, cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was in the sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Oh boy, what was it? I don't know. Oh, wait, I haven't looked at this picture. Oh! Oh my god. That was cut before he was stabbed. Boom! What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all that blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it.
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely was hit on the head, hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky? You said you were there, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword.
And then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on jar with the victim's blood. The jar they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Ah, we got him. Remember what you admitted only moments ago. You personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. No. It's finally all over. Is it? Objection? Oh, he's sweating. Oh. That was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. What?
Order, what nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, G. Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth.
Oh, I messed up!
Oops.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Ho, 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 ho. Did you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son. Oh, no.
I'm afraid Mr. Kent's claim is legally correct. Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Oh, hold up. It seems at last. Time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
I didn't. I actually tried to present it earlier, and he told me I couldn't.
Ha!
I admit I refused to present it at one point. Haha, so the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh. It's not that I didn't present the evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Udgy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward you can't really believe.
There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present the evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Ha! The book!
Wait, where is it?
The book!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department.
Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago.
No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, the piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
You personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Yep. No.
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
Ha! I love this. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you. Oh, here we go. He's gonna freak out. What? This wasn't the freak out that I was expecting. Okay. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, and he insisted on hounding me.
Your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
You stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all of this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would only have led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere. I guess I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
And then you put the body in my car.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Well, leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker.
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Don't listen to him, Worthy. You're better than that. It looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, Damon Kent. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here, and Worthy. With those two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. He's taking it rather well. There are two things I want to understand. Yes! First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I Gant helped me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you might just make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky, Onto you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing.
Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yeah, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I've felt free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial's gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky,
Not guilty! We did it! Sort of. But not really. I hope you guys don't mind the super long episode.
This is all. The court is adjourned.
Alright, here we go. Long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. I just, now after the trial ended... And we got the smile, was that it? Yeah, we just saw this like 2 seconds ago. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Oh, okay. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Gumshoe! You always know what to say. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Hopefully you get unfired. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Wait, what? Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right, I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana. Should she be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Guy to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you're only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. And hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back, and now you have. Oh, Emma. Yay! Happy-ish ending. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find a way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move forward toward a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt, watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me, thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Oh, he looks so happy. Where was he hiding?
I just came to say congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Alright, well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
What? You're better than Gant. It's a low bar, but you're better than Gant. Little bit. Tiny bit over that bar. You're basically crawling over that bar.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth?
Who knows, given enough time, I might even have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damien Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. We were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that would otherwise have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah, what is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. What? I don't know. He gave me the screwdriver, but he had that. I don't... Oh! I think it might be that. I think it might be this. I don't know if this actually matters for anything. But I'm gonna overthink the crap out of this. Let's just do the list. Because he had a half and then I stole half. That's kind of the same thing. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, I had the other, yes! Apart, we couldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth.
If you'll excuse me. There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you.
I know, it seems I owe you my thanks too, right?
Again.
What I face now is my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Very well.
I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. Seems we'll both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. All our friends. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this, but I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream? I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go. Ah, there we go. Okay. We got credits. They're gonna talk through the credits and not let me talk. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Yeah, because I thought I was going to be a goner for a moment. They overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. Alright, I'll give my thoughts. Since they're going to talk through this, I'll give my thoughts about the game at the end. Oh, or maybe they're done. I know as soon as I start talking about this game, they're gonna... There we go. My new mission is to guard the main entrance. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm gonna make detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Oh my god. He's aspiring to be like Gumshoe. I will say, I enjoyed this game a lot. I am really excited to start the next one. I mentioned this when I thought I had beat the game before, but I'm actually going to be off mostly for the month of October. Hi, Blue Badger. So I basically, I knew my October was going to be busy. I didn't expect my September to be quite as busy as it was. That's why we're wrapping this up in an hour-long special. Oh, no! So I'll be starting my playthrough of the next game. I'll probably start recording the second week in November.
What is it? Can't you see I'm having Miss Star managed to sneak this into me? She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. You make sure Billy and the gang get their water.
So yeah, it'll be first or second week in November. We'll pick up with the next game, but basically there's just too much going on in October. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. Text is either way too fast or way too slow. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu, the right way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. So probably first or second week in November, we'll start the second game for sure. I definitely want to play it. I loved pretty much every minute of this.
I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left. Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
Like, I didn't feel the puzzles were so obtuse that I'm like, how is anyone supposed to figure that out? For the most part. And there wasn't anything... maybe you could say it was a little bit on the easy side. I don't necessarily mind that as long as everything makes sense. And I felt like they did a good job with that. Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training is about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. I'm going to be so disappointed if she's not in the next game. Honestly, in general, like the characters were such a strong part of this game. I really hope they come back for the next one. I think, like, I felt the same way about Danganronpa, where it's like, yes, the theme was really cool, but one of the biggest strengths this game had was its characters. Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. Oh, what's going on? They keep interrupting my thoughts. I think I'm just gonna save it for the end. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Well, we lost another assistant. Oh, shoot, I put the controller down. Ha! Is there money in there for me? I feel like I didn't get paid. This is important. Aww. Yeah, this game did really well with its characters, and I think that's what makes it so endearing. Obviously, like, the gameplay is good too. Because if a game sucks, who cares how good the characters are? So yeah, I felt like they did a good job with the puzzles. I think you could argue that they were on the easier side, but I'd prefer that to just being like stupidly obtuse. So there we go. That has been Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this series. I had a good time. It was really great, you know, chatting with you guys in the comments. Hopefully you guys will look forward to the next game. It's coming in a few weeks. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add. Great game. Loved it. If you haven't seen this before, let me know what you guys think. If you have seen this game before, let me know what you guys thought of this playthrough. And yeah, I mean, if you made it an hour and 10 minutes into this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really, really do from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for watching this playthrough, and I'll see you next time.